We are less than 65 subscribers away from 7,000 subs here on the Ravens Rundown. That's a little bit more than a family reunion. So why don't you join our family here on the Ravens Rundown and subscribe to the channel now. We'd love to get to 7,000 subs before football season begins. We're covering the latest Ravens news, rumors, trades, free agency, and more right here each and every day on the Ravens Rundown. Turn on notifications as well so you never miss a moment. It's the Ravens Rundown each and every day by Chat Sports, youtube.com/RavensTV. The preseason is in the books. Hello, everybody. Tyler Jones here. Glad to have you with us for this preseason week number 3, winners and losers, as the Baltimore Ravens have wrapped up the preseason with a 17-15 win over the Washington Commanders, winning a record 23 preseason games in a row. And let's start out with the winners from this final preseason game. You have to begin with DeMarcus Robinson. Here's a guy that just a couple days ago found himself without a job, was released from the Las Vegas Raiders, and a lot of people were excited about when he was joining the Raiders, that they were able to take him away from a division rival in the Kansas City Chiefs, a weapon that Patrick Mahomes really liked in his time there, and then, what do you know, he gets cut. The Ravens, we've talked about for months on end, needed to find a veteran receiver to add to their very young arsenal. And DeMarcus Robinson, from day one, fit right in with this Ravens roster. 4 catches, 135 yards and a touchdown. He was a deep threat as well. And although Lamar Jackson was not playing, I'm sure he was smiling a lot to see what DeMarcus Robinson was able to put together. And now you look at this group and you add in a deep threat that the defense has to respect in DeMarcus Robinson with that raw speed. Sure, he's not going to have a whole lot of 100-yard games, but when he does, he's dangerous. And the defense has to respect that. I'm excited about DeMarcus Robinson. I have him making this 53-man roster. He showed up and he showed out in this final preseason game. So, how would you grade the signing of DeMarcus Robinson? We talked about this a couple days ago, and I think I got to bump up the grade to an A after what I saw. If I could go back and redo my grades, that's an A from what I saw in that preseason game on Saturday night. This is our pinned comment today. You're about to get an ad break. Might as well take advantage of it and get your votes in. How would you grade the DeMarcus Robinson signing now, after the fact? Hindsight's 20/20. Type A, B, C, D, or F and let me know. Anthony Brown is also a winner. Now, for Brown, he's probably not going to be on the roster come Monday or Tuesday, but he has certainly made his case. Somebody that was undrafted. And his time at Oregon went by pretty quick. I mean, without much hoorah, right? And then he comes to the National Football League and joins this Ravens team, and he has been a natural fit for the Ravens roster. 15 of 19, 256 yards, and a touchdown. And look, this Ravens team already has Lamar Jackson, already has Tyler Huntley. But Anthony Brown, if he goes to the practice squad, will be a really good option for the Ravens to call up if an injury were to happen. Or he may have played himself into a job with another team on a 53-man roster as a backup quarterback. He did a lot for himself throughout this preseason, and in particular what he did in that game against the Washington Commanders. I'm excited for him. I don't know if his future's in Baltimore or not. I hope he gets a chance to play somewhere in the future. If he gets to play in a 53-man roster that's not Baltimore, good for him. But nonetheless, you can't help but be excited for that young man, for what he was able to do in the preseason, in particular in that last preseason game against the Commanders. Also a winner, Tyler Linderbaum. Yes, Tyler Linderbaum. Where did he come from? We have talked about over the last few weeks the concerns with the injury and that he was going to play through said injury and was held out for the last several weeks, and he was at practice, but everyone was very cautious and hoping that he'd just be available when the season started. Well, he came out and he played well. He's going to have to deal with this injury throughout the season. This isn't going away, but it looks like things are in the right direction, that they're moving forward for Tyler Linderbaum, and that's what you love to see. I was happy for him. I thought he was a great selection. I think that he is a future All-Pro center, and this was a good start, what we saw last night of him taking command, no pun intended, on the offensive line at that center spot. He was really good. Last on our winners list is A'Darius Washington. 6 tackles, a pass breakup, and really defended well in the secondary. I liked what I saw from A'Darius Washington, and he's going to be a name to watch out for throughout the season to see if he can earn some more playing time on a very crowded secondary, the best in the National Football League. We'll see if we can see more of A'Darius Washington going forward. Nonetheless, at least a very good backup for the Ravens. We will get to the losers in just a second, but now it's your turn here on the Ravens Rundown. Name a winner for the Ravens' win against the Commanders. Maybe it was somebody we named. Maybe it was somebody we left out. Let us know in the comment section a winner for the Ravens in their win against Washington in taking total domination of the DMV. Our losers. As good of a night as it was for the Baltimore Ravens, we can't ignore the fact that Poe the Mascot took a hard tumble and was carted off the field, left the mascot head on, and I feel bad for Poe. I mean, it was a thing that overshadowed the rest of the night, quite frankly, because we were all saying to ourselves, Poe, are you okay, buddy? What's going on here? I felt bad for Poe. I hope Poe's okay. A real trooper. I mean, that's an elite mascot. To get carted off the field and keep the mascot head on, best of wishes for Poe on that one going forward. And hopefully we see Poe back on the sidelines. The other losers for the night. Back to a more serious note. Tyler Badie. The run game was bad. Really. 21 rushing yards as a whole for the entire team. Only 1 rushing yard in the entire first half. Tyler Badie had a prime opportunity. And he's a guy that I have liked for the Ravens that I thought was a good find day 3 of the draft. And he didn't play well. 5 carries, 12 yards. He did have 1 reception, but didn't gain any yardage out of it. And on a night where no Mike Davis, no J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards we know is on the PUP list to begin the year, here was an opportunity for him, and he was nowhere to be found. I mean, it was a bad night for Tyler Badie. He did not take advantage of the opportunity in front of him. So Tyler Badie, for me, makes the loser list. I expected more. I know he was a late-round selection, but these are nights where you have to capitalize if you want to get on the field and get that playing time, and he did not do so. Last loser for you, Shemar Bridges. I love Shemar Bridges. I've talked about him a lot on this channel. He was terrific in that first preseason game. He's been one of the surprise standouts for the Ravens throughout camp. And what happened? I mean, where did Shemar go? 1 catch, 8 yards. He only had 2 targets. But he also was nowhere to be found in the second preseason game either. I mean, here was a guy that if the roster was set after that first preseason game, mortal lock would have been there. It would have been like, how can you not have this guy on your 53-man roster? And now as the weeks have gone on and the way that he's disappeared, he finds himself on the chopping block. And in his case, if you're Baltimore, I think more than likely now, the way things have shifted, he probably goes to the practice squad. Hopefully you can keep him around, and maybe he can find himself back in the 53-man at some point. But disappointing. I have high hopes for him still going forward. Great story for a former D2 product to get to this point, but he's been missing in action. We haven't seen him even come close to what he did in that first preseason game. So with that, that is your losers for this final preseason game for the Ravens. Now it's your turn. Name a loser from the Ravens' win against the Commanders. Let me know in the comments section. Whether it was one of those names or someone else, it's your turn to tell us in the comments section below a loser for the Ravens' win against the Commanders. Appreciate you joining us here on the channel. If you made it to the end of today's video, that means you are a real one, and we thank you for joining us. Spam flock in the comments if you made it to the end of today's video, and we will see you next time right here on the Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports.